So now we're gonna pivot into just fish real quick about lox. So lox, I didn't know this. This is just something that I just thought was kind of interesting. But it turns out that lox and smoked salmon are completely different things. So I lived in New York a few years ago, and I would go to this place a lot called Russ and Daughters in Lower East Side, and I would get their like smoked salmon bagel. But I always thought that I was getting lox. I always thought that they were like interchangeable. But it turns out that they're very much not. Like lox is actually a salt brine salmon, and smoked salmon is like smoked, so it gets like this fatty tarry thing that kind of like they both remove bacteria, which is I guess the end goal. But it's really interesting to kind of like hear about the history of lox, because apparently lox is actually super not in demand these days. Like people don't eat lox these days. They want smoked salmon. Oh, it's red. Let me make it black. Let me see if there's like a picture of like lox. Like even when you like search lox bagel, the first thing that you see on Google is smoked salmon. Like that's how deep this kind of this this almost perception thing goes, right? Like kind of like talking a little bit about what we were just talking about a second ago with like perception. Like people perceive lox to be what they think it is, but in reality, they're eating smoked salmon, right? So all of these will say lox, 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 but it's actually like lox is a very specific thing to the originators who created it, which is interesting because like that just means that maybe the name will evolve over time. But I thought that this quote was really funny, where it's like you can't get lox without a note from your mother, because it's basically saying like nobody wants lox, right? Like whenever there's like a people in the 21st century who order lox, they're like, "Do you mean smoked salmon?" And you actually have to tell the factory that you're ordering from that you are indeed looking for lox and you're not looking for salmon, because apparently it's super salty. And now I'm trying to like remember if I've ever actually had lox or if I've just had smoked salmon. It's really hard for me to know. I feel like I might have only had smoked salmon my entire life. Um, Mark Fetterman of Russ and Daughters likes to refer to lox as Jewish sushi. So anyway, this one was just kind of fun, kind of short. I thought that it was just kind of interesting that there's such a history behind certain words that have promulgated through society but aren't actually the original kind of thing.